Check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, baby, 1. Here comes the rump shaker. You guys didn't know I was going to hip hop flow today, did you? Did you now? Gotcha. Surprised ya. Oh my goodness. We are talking about the 5 ways to beat imposter syndrome. Have you struggled with it? Let me know. Let me know. I want to know. I want to know. Have you struggled with it? No, seriously, I do want to know. I think it's something that we have all struggled with from time to time. Who do I think I am? Who do I think I am? Who do you think you are? Guys, welcome. I'm just going to make sure that my camera is clean. It wasn't. I thought it was looking a little bit foggy there. Still in Houston, Texas. Hopefully getting back to France next Friday. Very excited about that. So if you are new here, my name is Arica Angelo, and I've been giving dating and relationship advice for 14 years, been on YouTube for 12 years. And I think when it comes to imposter syndrome, this shows up in our dating, it shows up in our love, it shows up in our relationships, it shows up in our career. It shows up everywhere. And you really have to find a way to kind of outsmart this feeling. I'm still curious if any of you guys have felt this before, but I want to find something for you that I think is going to be very powerful. And I want to kick off this with this quote from Marianne Williamson. And I think at first people had attributed it to Wilson Mandela, but it was actually Marianne Wilson who said this. And this talks about the imposter syndrome. So this is how I want to kick this off. Pay attention. Pay attention to class. Mama's teaching. Pay attention. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. You may have heard this before. If you have, you need to hear it again. We all do. I need to hear it again. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're going to keep going because this is good. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And if you had that quote every time the imposter syndrome showed up in your life, it would just boom, punch it right in the face and go, get the hell out of here. But we don't go to that quote enough. I'm reading this quote and I'm just like, oh yeah, I was just thinking just several days ago where I was trying to play small because I didn't want people to feel insecure around me. I'm like, I've done that a lot. I have a big thing that's going to be announced sometime this year. And when people close to me know about that, sometimes I shrink down about it. Sometimes I don't stand in my power and go, yeah, girl, you did it. And sometimes we do that. And we think we're doing, we think we're coming across as humble, but we're not. Because as this quote says, we were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. If you guys have done my emotional warrior, I see some of my emotional warriors in here, Thomas, Sean, and my emotional warrior program in week 3 is called Discovering Your Glory. And I derived that from the book called Waking the Dead. And in the book, he quotes another author and he says, it's the glory of God for man, woman to be fully alive. And then this quote alludes to glory as well as, go away thing. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. But how often are we taught to turn it down? If we say that we're great, someone says, boy, that's arrogant. That's arrogant. But what I always challenge people with this is when I'm encouraging people to step out of their comfort zone, to be all that they are, when I'm encouraging people to do just that, people go, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to say those things about me, and I always tell people, if I show up and tell you I'm beautiful, you wouldn't believe the song I was just singing to myself in the bathroom. But I'm going to tell you, could you be the most beautiful girl in the world? You're the reason that God made a girl. And you could hear someone, like if I said, I sang that song to myself in the bathroom. Of course I did, just right before I got on this. If you say that you're great or you're wonderful or you're smart or you're beautiful or you're talented, most people will tell you, don't say that. That's being arrogant. And I say, that's ridiculous. Why is it that you can step outside and you can look at the ocean, you can look at the mountains and you can say, wow, that is majestic. That is wonderful. That is glorious. And why can't you look at yourself in the damn mirror and say the same thing about you? Why is it only okay to say that about little children and to say that about nature? But we can't say that to ourselves. We can't say that about ourselves. Well, you know what? We can, and we should. We should. Because as we speak these things over ourselves, I'm going on a total different tangent than where I was planning on going, but we're going to run with it. We're going to follow it. When we speak over ourselves, our greatness, and who we are, when we call out and we name the glory of God within us, and we start labeling that, identifying that, and saying, this is who I am, this is what makes me great. When imposter syndrome comes up, which is derived out of fear, what dispels fear? Love, truth, light. When you start speaking truth over yourself, I am great, I am lovable, I am powerful, I am beautiful, I am wonderfully made, I am loving, I am compassionate, I am full of life, I am full of light, I bring joy to a room, I change people's life, my compassion touches and changes people's life on a daily basis. When we start speaking that truth, that light, that life over ourselves, we break off the fear that's on the inside that comes with the imposter syndrome. And so my question to you is, when is the last time you have spoken life over yourself? When have you spoken life over your situation? Because the imposter syndrome is going to beat you up and it's going to run through your head and it's going to ask you, who do you think you are? And you shouldn't be this way. And people are going to see the real you, which implies that you're less than. And that imposter syndrome will beat you to a pulp until you say, the truth is, The truth is, I'm really smart. The truth is, I'm really resourceful. The truth is, I'm really handsome. The truth is, I'm really wise. The truth is, I'm really capable. The truth is, I'm already loved. The truth is that I'm lovable right now as I am, whether I'm single or in a relationship. I am loved because my whole being is derived of love. And if you don't speak that over yourself, you don't get in a mirror. There's a mirror over there. Ninja Wolf's always talking about the mirror. And I'm like, Ninja Wolf's onto something, man. Got to pay attention to that dude. When you get in front of that mirror and you speak life over yourself, you speak truth, those thoughts that are living in your head rent-free, tormenting you, begin to eradicate. They begin to dissipate. They begin to flee as you speak truth to yourself. Now, I'm going to give you 5 practical ways, but I just really went off on that tangent because it's powerful and it's true and it encompasses the whole grand scheme of things. But I'm going to acknowledge y'all in the comments. Like, see, I'm back in Texas. I'm going to acknowledge y'all. Boy, am I a little chameleon. And then when I'm back in France next week, I'll be like, oh, bonjour, comment ça va? Ah, très bien, très bien. Ah. I mean, I'm just going to be right back at that, right? Yo, Williams, thank you for emailing me the Sabrina Claudio concert. I wish I was here for it. Yeah, that's super exciting. Stoke, good day, darling. Wishing you a wonderful evening, your time. Ninja Wolf, I am doing really good. I'm feeling really great today. Hey, Thomas, so glad you're here. Ninja Wolf says, I just came from the warm shower. I just came from the warm brushing of my teeth. Apparently with these invisible braces, you just have to brush your teeth like every time you eat anything. I mostly, never mind. Eric, how are you? Glad that you're here. Jason, what's up from Idaho? Did you decide when you'll visit Croatia? I haven't just yet. I still want to get through the summertime in France, but I've got to get there. Yeah, Thomas says, yes, teacher. Sean, darling, thank you. I'm so glad you're here, Sean. Sean, I so appreciate that. Thank you. He says, you are stunning today. Thank you so much. JJG Goldman says, you're watching from Idaho. You're originally from Texas. You have to tell me what part of Texas you're from. And you said, I love Latino ladies. I mean, us Latinas, we come with that fire. I always tease and I say, I'm Latina and I'm French. And I'm like, that's just a lot. It's a lot of fire. And I'm a Leo on top of that. And I'm a fire sign. I'm like, oh, Lord, y'all, we got a lot of fire here. Hi, Cayman Music. I'm so glad you're here. Ninja Wolf says, Erica, you're like Mother Nature. Who can watch over me? I love that. That's beautiful. Eric says, yeah, that was a beautiful song. Giovanni says, oh my God, you just took me back to 1992, right? I love your singing, Erica. That's my first time hearing you sing, girl. Oh, really? I thought I used to sing a lot on these. Arctic Seabass says, your beauty is a breach to the UN Geneva Convention about armed conflict. Somebody save us. Yes, we just pray for mercy in these situations and that leadership will rise and that division will cease. Oh, thank you, Yo Williams. He says, your voice is powerful, my love. Just got I love it, Thomas. He said, I just got a fresh cut, feeling better. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So we're going to talk about the 5 things that beat imposter syndrome. So we broke it down to like, it originally derives from fear. It's a fear of saying like, who are you to think this way about yourself? It's so fascinating because even, we all think like normal people, we look at celebrities. Let's just use them for example. And we talk about like, all celebrities have made it, they got to feel the most confident. They get accolades from everyone. They're on the big screen. Surely they're the ones who at least don't struggle with this and feel this. And I can't tell you how many of them. I've watched David Letterman talk about this. I've watched Jennifer Lopez talk about this. So many people have said that they still, even though with all of their success, all of their accolades, all their money, all their fame, still the imposter syndrome creeps up. And they feel like I'm going to be found out. People are going to find out that I'm a fraud. And so with that is that constant sense of fear, which basically underneath that says, you're not enough. You need to be more. You need to do more. And fear will always bring up our inadequacies. Fear will always make us feel like a failure. And fear will also tell you everybody else has this figured out except for you. You're the only idiot loser who doesn't have this figured out. And it's such a lie. And you really just have to grab it by the throat and break its cords and just and speak truth over yourself. So I hope you guys really understand the heartbeat behind what I'm saying, the value, the power of transforming your life by changing what you speak to break the power of fear off of your mind. So with that said, the 5 things that you can do to beat. I just forgot what it was called, to beat the imposter syndrome. First thing you got to do is this, guys. I want you to write this down. Suava marvelosa. Paulina, thank you. I don't think I said that right, though, but I tried and I did my best, and my best is enough. First thing you want to do is do what you say. This really fights the imposter syndrome. Why? Because imposter syndrome, when it comes up, what did I just say? It highlights that you're not enough. When you say you're going to do something, I'm talking about little things. Like when you tell yourself, let's just take a very small example, because it's very important to me to not just share concepts with you guys and to give you broad advice, but it means the world to my heart to give you very practical, tangible advice that you can apply to bring change. I'll never forget. I remember, like, my parents brought me up in church all the time. And I just remember, like, these ministers and people, like, I would go and hear them. They'd say, like, all these big, grandiose things. And I'd be like, how's that going to help my parents pay the bills? How is that going to help me get this pissed off teacher off my back? Like, in my mind, like, even a different example to get off that, a different example was when I was in school. I would challenge my teachers and I would say, and they would be like, you have to learn this. You have to pass this test. You have to do this. And I would go, why? Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to learn that? Can you show me where I'm going to apply this to my life, especially in algebra? I really struggled with algebra. And so I was like, can you show me where this is going to be applicable in my life? Because if you can't show that to me, then you're wasting my damn time. And so that's how my mind has always worked, is show me how I can apply this to my life and how can I make my life better by what you're saying. So I'm giving you some applicable, practical advice. Do what you say. So if you go to bed and you tell yourself right before you go to bed, small example, but it's these small things that you can do to really build trust within yourself, because imposter syndrome basically tries to steal away your love from you. Love and trust go hand in hand. So when you don't trust yourself, it also pulls on the fact that maybe you're not loving yourself very well. That's a whole other conversation that we can come to on another day. But when you start doing what you're saying you're going to do, you start establishing trust with yourself. You teach yourself, you teach your mind, you teach your body, you teach your heart, you teach your nervous system. I can count on me, because when I say I'm going to do something, I actually follow through on the things that I say. And so as you establish this trust for yourself, you're establishing love within yourself, and love eradicates fear. Imposter syndrome comes from fear. So you go to bed and you tell yourself, oh man, when I wake up, I'm going to make I'm saying this because I do this. When I wake up, oh my God, I'm going to have the best cup of coffee in the morning. Or some of you might like Starbucks or Pete's or There's so many coffee places out in the world. If you're in Europe, Costa Coffee or Cafe Nero, So you say, I'm going to have the best cup of coffee. I'm going to go and get myself a latte, and then I'm going to come back home, put on my PJs, and I'm just going to just lay in bed and savor this cup of coffee, right? You teach your body that when you do just that, when you wake up in the morning and you do the things that you promised to yourself the night before. And so this is why it's super important that when we make a commitment to ourselves, when we say, I'm going to do this, and we follow through on it, we're teaching ourselves that we're reliable. We're teaching ourselves that we can trust ourselves, that we can count, we can lean on ourselves. And as we trust ourselves, we love ourselves. And so it's really important. I know we always think of like integrity of what we say with other people, but most of the time I'm like, why are you starting there? Start with you, because you can't give out what you don't have. So start with you by trusting yourself and by being a man and a woman of your own word towards you. When you say you're going to do something, you better damn well do that, because that is you valuing and loving yourself. So that's the first way that you start breaking down the imposter syndrome, is by doing what you say you're going to do. I'm going to do one of Arica Angelo's programs. Then do it. Then get started on it. Do it right away. Like, follow through on what you say. I could go off on another tangent on that of when we don't do that, how people don't trust us either. When you don't keep your word to yourself, people aren't going to trust that you're going to keep your word with them. I'm just saying, y'all. Second one, speak your truth. Speak your truth. The whole idea of imposter syndrome is to silence you, is to make you feel inferior, to shut you up, essentially. Cállate la boca. To shut you up. But when you speak your truth, you can feel that courage in your belly getting stronger and stronger. What do I mean by that? Let's say that, perfect example, people, this is quite, I'm not going to go there. Two people, your friends, they're being really divisive, and they're just tearing a person down, just really tearing them down. And everything inside of you says, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. I don't like this. When you speak your truth and say, hey guys, like, listen, I get what you're doing here. Man, gotta be honest, doesn't feel right to me. Like, you guys can keep doing you and talking about this, but I'm going to go over here. So I'd love to stay here and talk to you guys, but if this is where this conversation is going, I can't ride with you. Okay. It's that simple. Is it going to be awkward? Yeah. Are you going to maybe shake when you say it? Yeah. Do you say it anyways? Yeah. Why? Because when you speak your truth, that's telling your inner child, hey, I'm going to stand up for you. Maybe no one stood up for you when you were a child, but listen, I'm your ride or die. I'm going to stand up for you. I'm going to speak my truth. And the more that you speak your truth, the more that you can feel like you're not a fraud, because you're being honest with yourself and you're being honest with the people around you. But when you withhold that, you feel like a fraud. So when you're already feeling like a fraud, what does imposter syndrome do? It just comes in and gives you more reasons as to why you are one. So do what you say you're going to do, especially to yourself. Speak your truth. Third thing, here's the big one. But I really think if you do these two, this one kind of like gets rid of this third one, which is stop comparing. And that is so easier said than done for all of us. For all of us. Stop comparing. We all do this. Women do this with our beauty. We do this in our careers. That person's making more money than me. That person's more successful. That person has a bigger house than me. We all play into this of comparing ourselves. Guess what? The more that you compare yourself to other people, the more you break down your own confidence, because you're essentially taking your low and comparing it to their high, which only beats you down even more. So when it comes to having a strong infrastructure on the inside, so when that imposter syndrome shows up and goes knock, knock, knock on your head and starts running its mouth, When you're already beating yourself down by comparing yourself to other people, guess what? Imposter syndrome goes, yep, you're right. You're right on that. Nope, you're not that great. Yep. I told you weren't that great. I told you you're just faking all this. I told you you're too good to be true. Nope, it's not true. That's not who you are. We don't want to give it a shaky ground to build upon. We want a rock solid foundation within ourselves and trusting ourselves and not comparing ourselves to people's complete highs. I think that sometimes the only thing that I find comparing yourself to be helpful is when you are trying to up level. There are a couple people, there are several people that I really look up to and admire. I really admire Oprah. I really admire this social media influencer. There are just different Victoria Beckham, like there are just Audrey Hepburn, like there are just women that I look up to and I go, wow, they're fascinating. Sarah Blakely, the owner of Spanx, like these sort of people, I just look at them and I go, wow, but I can't compare myself and go, oh, I'm just not where they are. I'm like, as long as I am taking the right steps to go in the direction that I see in them that I want, then I have to honor and celebrate myself for that. But I can't beat myself up for not being there. That's the third one. Do what you say. Speak your truth. Stop comparing. Here's the fourth one. Quit caring. When we care so much about what other people say about us, we're basically invalidating our own voice regarding ourselves. When we care too much about what people think or what they're going to say about us, we're basically invalidating ourselves in terms of what we already think about ourselves. You cannot give people that much power. Because let me tell you, most people don't have it figured out. Listen, I've been coaching people for 14 years. Prior to that, my parents were ministers, and so they had me in the ministries. And I don't know if you guys know this. I used to be a children's church pastor. I used to be a youth pastor. God help those kids and youth now. No, I did a good job, but I'm just saying, like, I've been working with, and then, my parents were ministers, so I would hear people's problems like all the time. Let me tell you something. Ain't nobody got this figured out. Nobody. And the person that's on a pedestal in your mind, I promise you, if you dig into their closets, there's a lot of skeletons they don't want you to know about. Why? Because no one has this figured out. So what you're doing when you care so much about what people think and say is you're just going, here's all my power. You know better than me. I'm going to place my identity and my self-worth and my value system all in your hands because I think you have it together. They don't. I promise you, there's an area in their life that either in their past or something that they're working through. And they will tell you, if they're humble, they'll tell you, I don't have it all together. I feel like humble people are more raw about that. So there's no point in you caring so much about what these people say. And I know that's another one that's easier said than done. So how do we switch that? What you focus on grows. 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 So if you're focusing more of standing in front of your mirror and speaking truth over yourself, and that's your main focus, guess what? That's going to grow. But when you give your power to other people by constantly thinking, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? What are they going to do? It doesn't really matter. And especially in this day and age, people's attention span is like this. It's fleeting. They might say something about you. And then 2 minutes later, they're off in their own world thinking about their own problems and their own insecurities and their own fears and how they're going to pay the bills and why can't they get the house that they want and to shift not caring what they think, or to shift from caring about what people think, you have to be more conscious about what you think about yourself and how you are going to cultivate more love and more value for yourself. Here's the fifth one. Let me just recap. Do what you say. That's number one. Speak your truth. That's number two. Stop comparing. quit caring. And the fifth one is this: show up. What do I mean by show up? Showing up means being the real you. You know, when I get on YouTube and I started off with singing or rapping or doing crazy things that a woman who looks like me, I should be probably more. I've had people call me out and say, like, you shouldn't cuss so much. It's really not ladylike. You shouldn't be so goofy. Like, I have a really quirky personality, and I've heard people say, you should really tone that down. Like, for an elegant woman like yourself, you shouldn't behave that way. And I'm like, and you're boring as, so who are you and why are you talking to me right now? Because there's nothing about you that I want. It takes courage to show up and just be you. And what I'm saying is, like, a woman who looks like me, like, I shouldn't be getting on rapping and singing, could you be the most beautiful woman in the world, or whatever I say. So when we just say, screw it, I have to show up, I have to be the real me, it's back to that Marianne Williamson quote of, we give other people the permission to do the same. Right before I was doing this, I was just watching a small documentary. Only women might be interested, maybe some men if you're into this, but I was just watching a small documentary on Virgil, the guy from fashion, who was one of the a designer for Louis Vuitton, and he had passed away from cancer. And I'm listening to all these people talk about the impact that he had on their lives. And everyone consistently said, like, he was just super authentic. He saw the world in a different way. He created things from just what was resonant to him, what came from him. Like, he was just honest with himself, and he gave other people the permission to do that. And it was fascinating to, like, see each person as they're talking about this man and his life of authenticity and being brave and breaking barriers, the tears in their eyes, and just overcome with emotion. You can feel the impact that this man had on their lives. And I'm telling you, you're never going to have that impact on other people's lives if you keep holding yourself back, if you keep playing small. Because that's exactly what the imposter syndrome wants you to do. It wants you to stay afraid. It wants you to believe that you are less than what you are. And so when you quit showing up in the fullness of who you are, and the quirkiness, the madness, the wildness, the tenderness, the poetic side of you, all the beautiful things that you secretly have, when you hold those back, then no one gets touched by you, because the real you isn't coming out. And so when the real you's not coming out, I always tell people, like, if you're constantly playing it safe, most people play it safe so that they don't get rejected, right? Which is what the imposter syndrome wants you to do. Just shut up, be quiet, and sit down. So when people are playing it safe, it's because, they don't want to get rejected. And what I tell people is, they can never reject you, because they don't even know you, because the real you's not even showing up. So I hope that this is helpful to you guys. I just want to read your comments. Ninja Wolf says, Arica, can you get us to write that down? I refuse to accept the failure. I can still get back in the game and knock all that fear out of my mind. Absolutely. Keep loving yourself. That's right, Ninja Wolf. Thomas says, trying to remember only seeing the highlights on Facebook or Instagram. That is so true. That is so true. Guys, I promise you, I'm not posting pictures of when I first wake up. Like, none of us are. Because that's just sometimes ain't so pretty, Nirvana says, none of those thoughts ever enter when you're actually free. Your mind will never, when you're free. Sean says, I really enjoy your quirkiness. Thank you, Sean. Oh, Came In Music says, my friend who passed away in 2020 told me, don't compare yourself to others. Wise man, wise person. Thomas says, agree, Sean. Happy Thursday, Derek. I'm so glad you're here. Ninja Wolf says, focus on you, not comparing with others. It's like you're trying to be a follower instead of a leader. Well, you said it, Ninja Wolf. Derek says, my dad, rest in peace, made me, my brother Eric, and my nephews, Keenan and Isaiah, into the strong Tigler men that we are today. Words I said at my dad's memorial service back in 2019. That is absolutely beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, I want to tell you guys, I'm just going to tag my website here. I just want to call out a couple of people. I don't know if they're here on this live, but one, Joe, and I won't say his last name for privacy, but Joe, you just recently posted a comment. Joe just bought my course, 5 Things That Sabotage You from Real Connection. And he posted some really heartwarming comments on that program. Because when you go through my programs, you can comment on them. And Joe, I just want to tell you, if you're watching this, that really impacted me. I sometimes will get emails when people leave comments, and your words really touched my heart deeply. So thank you for sharing that. And the other one, I don't know, Sharon, if you're here, Sharon just sent a comment. It's like sometimes these comments just really take my breath away. She was listening to my connection meditation, which is why I just pinned my website. If you haven't gotten that free meditation, make sure you go and get it. And she just said, Arica, I love listening to your voice. It's so soothing. I'm looking forward to listening to this every morning and every night before I go to bed. And I love that. So guys, if you're in a place where you're really getting beaten down with imposter syndrome, make sure you get that connection meditation. It is really transforming people's lives, and it's free. So make sure that you get that. Penguin says, bingo, trust yourself, build your confidence, and have a powerful stance of confidence. Imposter syndrome is a lid on life. That is so well said. That's very true. Pull it off. Good stuff. Positive reinforcement. Guys, I am so grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I have a published video coming out on Friday and Sunday. You'll see the premieres if you go to my channel. And then on Tuesday, I have another video coming out. I was going to say Sunday, but we've changed the schedule. We've made it on Fridays and Tuesdays. Apparently, Google or YouTube Analytics said that people were more watching things on Tuesday. So that's coming up. But on Monday, I will be back for a live video. So I'm so excited to do that. Justin Gale, how do you feel with feeling other in the dating scene? What do you mean by that? Can you break that down for me more, Justin? How do you feel with feeling other in the dating scene? I don't know if I'm not understanding that, darling. Ninja Wolf says, thank you for being here with me, Cinnamon Bun. Thank you, darling. How do you deal with feeling other in the dating scene? What do you mean by other, Justin? Selwood 1989, can you do a video on how to get a date with Arica Angelo? I could if I knew who Arica Angelo was. I know who Arica Angelo is. I like that, though. That's very clever. That's good. I like it, Selwood. Thank you. Justin, I just want to give you a little bit moment to clarify what you're saying. I don't know what you mean by the other. How do you deal with feeling other in the dating scene? I don't know what that means. And I got to sign off. Maybe, Justin, if you can't type, just make sure you can email me. It's Arica@aricaangelo.com. Guys, I love you so, so, so much. Be loved. Have a wonderful weekend. Do something that will surprise yourself. Because in Europe, I don't drive in Europe. I'm always walking everywhere in France. So I just rented myself a little luxury vehicle to drive around this weekend, just so I can feel a little fancy. So that's going to be fun for me, and seeing my family before I head back to France. So make sure you do something out of the ordinary for yourself, because you know what? You're worth it. I love you guys. I will see you all on Monday. You take care. Bye, guys. Love you.